All right, this is important. Tonight, an explosive report released by House Republicans alleging the partisan January 6th committee, I said from the beginning they had a predetermined outcome. They deleted records, hid crucial evidence. The report also reveals, remember Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony that Donald Trump lunged at the steering wheel of the Secret Service driver on January 6th? Guess what? That was refuted in testimony by Donald Trump's driver that day, who testified the president, quote, never grabbed the steering wheel. Oh, you'd think they would include the truth. But of course, the sham committee hid the driver's full testimony from their final report. Anyway, here with reaction, investigative reporter, editor-in-chief, JustTheNews.com. Its founder as well, John Solomon. All right, so they literally... they failed to turn over video recordings of witness interviews and depositions, despite using recordings in high-profile primetime hearings. And, of course, they hire a Hollywood star producer so that they can really produce this thing. Okay, so then they delete these records, and we find out that the testimony of the driver of the car that day totally contradicted on the record what was said and what the narrative they pushed?
Yeah, and it's important to note Liz Cheney was a lawmaker that actually attended that interview with the Secret Service driver, and he said it didn't happen. No, Donald Trump didn't choke the Secret Service agent. He didn't try to grab the steering wheel. By the way, there are some physical barriers that would make that impossible. The SUV that the president was in that day had some steel and glass barriers. It isn't like the president could break through that. So think about this. Liz Cheney, Benny Thompson, the January 6th committee, gave more credence to a third-person hearsay account of Cassidy Hutchinson, who they knew had repeatedly changed her testimony. She had submitted an errata report that changed a lot of her original claims to the committee, and they discounted the actual driver, who's the first person who knows what happened in that car. That's something that happens time and time again in the January 6th investigation. Another one, very important, Tony Ornato, another one of those witnesses we didn't get to see the full transcript of. He's the deputy White House chief of staff for President Trump. He testifies, you darn right that Donald Trump authorized 10,000 National Guard. I was in the meeting. He first told it to the Defense Secretary, Chris Miller, and to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley. The next day, Anthony Ornato, spent in a meeting. I was with the District of Columbia. We told them they could have 10,000 National Guard. That's another one they kept off the table, away from us, and then they tried to impugn the testimony or the suggestions that Donald Trump tried to offer the National Guard. These hearings are paid by the taxpayer. They're supposed to give us the truth. The January 6th committee,
John,
Adam Schiff's Russia collusion, did not give us the truth.
Days before January 6th, I have on tape, there were 5 people in the meeting. Chris Miller, acting Secretary of Defense, Kash Patel as Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, the President's Chief of Staff, and the President. They all are on record on my show saying, now, Liz Cheney started a fight with our friend Mark Levin over this issue, and you say that Mark Milley even said that he was in the meeting. He was the only other person. So all 5 people on record saying Trump authorized troops. Why didn't they? Did he have to sign a paper? What happened?
Well, listen, the president's authorization was verbal at the beginning. That's what needed to be happened. Then things happened downstream from him with Kash Patel at the Pentagon, with Anthony Ornato. What's really important, I found a document last year. It's a Capitol Police document. On the morning of January 3rd, the document shows, as part of an official timeline, internal timeline that the Capitol Police had, January 6th committee never released it. The first offer to the Capitol Police came in the morning of January 3rd. They turned it down. It is not in doubt that the Trump Pentagon, it is written in stone, 5 witnesses, but Liz Cheney tried to tell us otherwise.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
It's not about justice, it's not about agenda, it's not about mobilizing people, it's about dialing for corporate dollars. These 2 parties have sold the U.S. government and the American people to the highest bidders.